in the middle of ordering new appliances for the house. I'm trying. I was going to wait a couple of months, but with all this tariff shit, I just want to get it over with so I don't get fucked on any of these prices.
Right.
But dude, everything has a, quote unquote smart component to it.
Yeah.
Like that I intentionally looked for dumb appliances, but like I tried to find the one with the least bells and whistles. Mm-hmm. They've got a stove, a range top with an oven that you can tap the door and it lights up inside. They got fucking cameras in your oven now.
For what?
So that you can see your food while it cooks.
Oh yeah, I really need to do that.
I mean, conceptually, I understand it, right? Say I got a cake I got the turkey in the oven, right? Even though the turkey's covered, so you're not going to see it because it's still covered. But say I got something in the oven, I'm in the backyard. I can flip on my LG app and see what's going on in my oven. If you're an influencer and your shit is cooking, it's useful too. But aside from that, fuck you. I don't need a fucking $200 for a fucking camera in my fucking stove. Fuck out of here.
So here's a line. Here's a line from the book Abusing Ourselves to Death by Neil Postman, right? He writes, in Mumford's great book, Techniques and Civilizations, he shows how, beginning in the 14th century, the clock made us into timekeepers, and then time savers, and now we are time servers. In the process, we have learned the irrelevance toward the sun and seasons, for in a world made up of seconds and minutes, the authority of nature is suppressed.
That's
get what
crazy.
I'm saying? So,
yeah,
so
no.
Sense, you tell me what you think.
The at least what I get from it is the more we've been trained to pay attention to minutes, seconds, and hours, the less we've paid attention to the natural flow of time.
Yes.
We're trying to manage time so much that we've lost track of time, which, dude, that makes tons of sense if you really do think about it, right?
Exactly.
My weekends, you could sum up half of my weekend with that, right? I come back to my office and I sit here and relax. I watch YouTube, I watch whatever, and I lose track. If I don't keep track of the time, I will naturally just let the day go through doing whatever. I have to have a reminder on Alexa that I got to do the pool in an hour or like even to the point where I know I put some chemicals in the pool and I have to tell Alexa, remind me in 2 hours to do the thing, right? Because if not, then I'll just get caught up. But getting caught up is kind of the natural thing, right? Getting caught in the moment you're in, where dividing up that clock. Yeah, no, I get it. That was a problem I had too, dude. A couple of jobs ago, like I had to really train myself to pay attention to the calendar because I was working with a bunch of fucking time hoarders. So MSPs like to they like to micromanage your time. Not what you're doing with your time, but just your time itself. And, I would have these people that I worked with were putting all sorts of shit on my calendar. And I was like, I'm used to tickets. I'm used to working in a ticketing system, not having to live on a calendar with appointments, right? So 15 years, 16 years of working in ticketing systems, if you give me 20 tickets in a day, I'll plow through 20 tickets in a day. But if you put 5 appointments on my calendar, I don't know about all that shit. You mean I gotta be here at fucking 1:00 sharp? So I used to get yelled at for that shit, but now it's been kind of beaten into me where I'm constantly looking at my calendar.
Yeah. And now the calendar, you're a servant to the calendar.
Yeah. Okay. So that's where my brain just went. I was just thinking, I just explained that I'm a slave to time as opposed to time being my slave.
And now think about that concept and apply that towards our devices. That shit's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. As opposed to you getting on the phone and looking at social media for entertainment, you are the entertainment because the algorithm is grabbing what you're reaching for and then regurgitating it right back out at you for you to actually process and you to enjoy. But they're gathering more data about you in the process of your. So we end up being slaves to that. Like it's wild. This dude wrote this book in 1984, by the way.
Of course he wrote it in fucking 1984. I'm listening to Animal Farm now, by the way.
Oh, bro.
I've never read Animal Farm. I've read about it about its commentary on society, but I never actually read the book. So I'm listening to that right now. Dude, the foreword was fucking powerful. Just the foreword to the book had me like, yo, this is crazy. The coincidence of that book being released at the same time as Churchill doing and saying some of the things that he said. It's just like,
Winston Churchill. Yeah.
It's a coincidence, obviously, but is it actually serendipity or what do the Jewish people call it? Kismet? Is it?
I don't know what that means, bro. What does that mean?
As far as I understand, it's like serendipity, right? Something happens at the moment it was supposed to happen, and because it happened at the moment it was supposed to, this is what happened. So it's like almost like destiny or fate, right?
Okay. I got you. It's to me, it's an ill scenario. And now looking at what we're doing.
Yeah, I was right, dude. Damn, man. Kismet appears to be misspelled. I misspelled it. I spelled it with a Z, but it's Kismet, which means fate or destiny, often used to describe something significant that happens by chance. Right? So that's literally Kismet. But yeah, that's
what we're dealing with.
It's crazy how he put that book out. Obviously, he had spent time writing it, so he didn't write it in response to what was going on in the moment. He wrote it because he foresaw that moment and explained it in this book. And then it just happened that when he put the book out or when the book was scheduled to release, all this other shit was going on in the world.
Right. What's dope is if you get a chance, just read up there's a video. I haven't read an autobiography on George Orwell, but if you get a chance, you could just watch a YouTube video on his life. His life is definitely fascinating. Like it's not a party like that, bro. It's definitely he went through some shit and it's dope. Like I just think what he experienced is dope and how he captured everything later on down the line. It's just good work at the end of the day.
Well,
if you get a chance, check it out.
No, I definitely will. But I don't want to say good because that's a personal opinion if somebody's good or not. But don't most significant artists usually come from troubled backgrounds or, have not had the easiest of lives?
Yeah, to some degree. I think he came from a decent family, but
that's not indicative of a good life, though.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. There were still problems. Yeah, I know where you're going with it. I'm right there with you. And I completely agree. Like, I think some of the things that he went through and dealt with were probably unique to him. And then you'll see when you some of the things that he went through. You know what I mean? Listen to a short video.
I listened to 1984 a few years ago, and now I'm listening to this. So I definitely want to know more. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. They say life imitates art. I think art predicts life. Right? Because the artist is. You think life predicts art?
Yeah, because Orwell was writing. So when you see his life, when you hear about his life and check it out, he actually went through that. That's the reason why he wrote that. He didn't write it because he foresaw so much. He wrote it because he actually lived it. And then he flipped it and made it a story. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like there's definitely like, there's a lot.
Okay. So hold on. The influences of his life led him to write this book, but his art still predicted what would happen in real life. Right? His writings.
I don't know if I'd say it's a prediction though. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if you could say that. I think
it was more like a commentary, not a prediction. He was commenting on his life, the events of his life, and they just so happen to correlate with what happened around the time of the release of the book.
Yeah, well, it happened before. So before he wrote another book and wrote columns before.
Yes.
And then he wrote the book. And at this, prior to that, a lot of the shit was actually happening and going on.
Oh.
So what happens, bro? It's a cycle. And that's what he was making real commentary on, was the fact that this cycle is happening again. And that's what a lot of these intellectuals that study history and all that, that's all they're saying. Like whatchamacallit again? Christopher Hedgenson, Richard Wolff.
I was just listening to some Richard Wolff content this morning.
Yeah, like a lot of these dudes, they're making commentary, but their commentary is actually historical. They're not saying anything new. They're just the only ones that are speaking about the truth. Like they're going like, yo, if we don't do X, Y, Z.
They're using that what's the axiom? If you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. Yeah. Which, dude, I mean,
and I think that
look where we at right now, bro.
Exactly. But think about this. This goes back to what we were saying about the intellectual war that's going on, where research isn't respected, science isn't respected. Literally what they're doing, because prior to that, especially in European culture, prior to that, that was called the Dark Ages.
Yeah.